Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, yesterday on the 9th of February, Angela Rayner sat down with Laura, and Laura put forth some questions to Angela Rayner that Angela Rayner seemed to be struggling with. You know, they spoke about different topics: online safety, Middle East, house building. But what we're going to watch in this segment is the fear that she clearly expresses covertly, not overtly, but covertly. She knows that there's a fear of Reform UK, because when a poll came out, it's illustrated that if an election was to be had now, then she would be someone who would lose her seat to Reform UK. So let's be honest, both Labour and Conservative understand that Reform UK is a threat and they are trying to do something about it. You know, I even saw Kemi Badenoch talking about immigration, being very, very aggressive with the policy because she understands that, you know, reform is coming and they're gathering steam. But anyway, guys, we're going to be watching this segment. She's going to be talking about the threat from Reform UK, and they're going to put forth another question of, you know, Kier Starmer having a voice coach during COVID times. So yeah, let's get straight into the content.
Now, a poll yesterday suggested that you would be one of the Labour politicians who might lose their seat to the Reform Party if there was an election now. I know one poll is one poll, but it is fair to say that as a relatively new government, broadly speaking, you've been failing to impress the public. Why?
Well, I think there's been frustrations, and I can completely understand people's frustrations, because we were elected on a mandate for change, and people want to see change and they want to see it immediately. It takes time to turn that around, and I'm confident that during the course of this parliament, people will see we haven't done slogans. These are structural problems that we've had in our economy and in our society for a long time, and therefore turning it around does take a little bit more than 7 months.
But you started off and moved in up here, massive majority. 7 months in, you're down there. Now, for some reason, the message is not getting through. We know now that the Prime Minister had a voice coach. You're a straight talker. What tips would you give him if that was your job?
Look, Kier has been completely open about wanting to do his best for this country, and I admire him for that. I've worked with Kier now for a number of years. Now, I am straight talking. Me and Kier don't always agree on everything. But the one thing I will say about him is he won't do what he thinks is popular. What he wants to do is deliver, because there's nobody worse critic to Kier than Kier. In my understanding of how he works and my personal experience with him is if he will be feeling harder if he doesn't meet the target that he sets himself to make people better off than anything any poll could tell him or any election result. He will want to drive to win for the people of this country and to deliver what he promised and set out that he was going to achieve.
So you say he's his own worst critic?
He would be, yeah, absolutely.
But a new book reports that you said he couldn't run a bath. Did you say that?
Well, I'm not, you know, there's a lot of things that were said in that book that I don't recognise, to be honest.
So
and
did you not say that?
And it's tittle tattle, so I don't recognise what was said in that book.
But that's not tittle tattle. That's what the woman who's now the Deputy Prime Minister is reported to have said about the now Prime Minister.
Sure, and there was lots of other things that people have said about me or anyone else, and no, I don't recognise ever saying that to anybody. But we all have frustrations when we're at work sometimes, and I'm sure people have been frustrated with me at work sometimes.
You probably know I'm going to ask you this question, and you might want to bat it away the same way you did the last one. Did you refer to a member of the royal family as something I'm not sure we're allowed to say on a Sunday morning, but in case we can bleep it out, did you suggest...
Again, I'm not making any comments about what said or not said.
Did you deny that you called a member of the royal family a nonce?
Said in a book. I'm not making any comment on what somebody suggests was said in a book, or actually the private conversations that I did have during the passage of the bill, which did get passed, and I did pass the bill, and I wholeheartedly supported the government at the time in passing the line of succession bill through Parliament.
But you're not denying it?
As I've said, the bill was passed. I had conversations with the government of the time and the civil servants around how that bill gets through Parliament, and that bill went through Parliament without any problems, and you know, I led that piece of work.
I want to talk to you about the council elections. So this year you are delaying some local elections, denying 5.7 million people the ability to vote. That might, when we look at the polls, look like you and the Tories are both running a bit scared of Reform UK, and it's quite convenient to delay these elections, just not have them. Is that what's happening?
Well, I'm glad you clarified. I have not denied. There is a delay, and the delay is for local government reorganisation, which has been done before.
Not very many times. We've checked out the statistics.
It has been done before, but with
the 5.7
with
million
the devolution
people.
package that this will unlock, 80% of England will be covered by the devolution, which is what we said we would do. What you can't do, Laura, is have an election and then within 12 months you're electing somebody to something that's not going to exist. So to concentrate on the reorganisation, to deliver those powers out of Whitehall to local people, there is a 12-month delay.
And do you completely deny that there's any sense where actually this is a kind of stitch up, it's just convenient not to have these elections?
Absolutely not. Look, it won't be a stitch up, because if you were genuinely trying to stop people, then that's when people really get upset, because they'll be thinking, hang on a minute. So I don't take the voters as idiots. What we're trying to do is reorganise. The taxpayers get the best value for money from local government, and they get to unlock powers from Whitehall, pushed down to local areas through the mayoral model.
Last question. We've been speaking this weekend to the parents of 4 children who died, they believe, because they tried challenges on the social media site TikTok. They're now suing the company, actually in the American courts. After what we've heard from those parents and others over the months, do you think it's safe for children to be on TikTok?
I worry about that, and my heart goes out to those families. You know, I'm a mother myself, and when you hear about what happens and what children are subjected to and what they can see online, it is really dangerous, and it's one of the reasons the Online Harms Bill, which is the Online Harms Act, which will come into effect in March, is so crucially important, because our children do need protecting from that. You know, you have to understand, if you're in a car and you are reckless with the car and it injures someone, you're responsible for your actions. If you're online, it's an online platform, and you're reckless with your actions, then you should be held responsible for it.
Do you think some of them are reckless?
I think, you know, it's hard to defend social media companies when you see examples of harm and you have evidence that it is harmful, and they're not taking the action that is needed to keep those children safe. And that's why our government is pushing ahead to make sure that we enact laws to protect children from that.
Okay. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner, thanks so much for joining us on the programme.
Of course, no straight answer. What you get is what you've been getting from this Labour Party, from everyone that is in the Labour Party, and that is lip service. You're getting promises, empty promises, lies, and, you know, waffle. You know, that's what I expected from Angela Rayner. You know, so yeah. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.